right, welcome. Oh, chat's going crazy. So welcome. I'm Sam, or Snickerdoodle, or Misplaced Yank. Yeah, the music is gonna end. I would hope you're here for us, though, not the music, right?
The music is pretty good.
The music was very good. Yeah.
The elevator music is pretty solid. But yeah, I'm Sam. I'm joined by John, and then we have our special guest, so we're here to talk about rank today. So, John, you want to introduce yourself and our guest?
Yeah. Some of you are familiar with me, but I am the community manager here at 343. I am joined by Tashi, who is the lead on Esports and Viewership Studio. Is that right, Tashi?
That is right.
Let's go.
Thanks everybody for having me. Should be fun.
Yeah. So how are you guys doing today? It's Friday. We made it, right?
A week.
It's been a busy
week. Yeah.
You know what? Can't complain though. The weather's been amazing. John and I are hitting 18 holes later this afternoon, so I'm pumped.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Well,
we're both gonna do really bad.
John will do better than me.
Are you guys staying local in like Redmond, or are you going a little further out?
Undisclosed golfing location.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Don't need anybody joining you. Hello, I am here. Uni golfing instead of coding all of Halo Infinite by himself. Yeah, how dare you? How dare you? All right, but let's see. We're here with Tashi because we're going to talk about ranked, right?
Yes, we
are. Everybody's favorite playlist, the one I have not touched yet in this game.
What?
Yeah, I don't have anybody to play with, and I don't want to solo queue.
What about ranked player? It's a little bit more friendly in there.
That's true. I just haven't had time. Like I've had MCC on my plate to help get out the door, so I just have not had time to play some social or the rank slayer.
Well, you're missing out. Hopefully you get some time. Actually, rank slayer is going out next week, so hopefully this weekend you can get a few games in.
Sounds like I need to find a friend this weekend. All right. All right, well, I'll like open the floor to you guys since this is all about all the ranked stuff.
Yep. So today's focus for everyone who's joining us is going to be ranked Halo Infinite matchmaking, and just focused on ranked playlists, what's inside of those playlists, and what you can expect in that area. In the Tashi, I guess to start things out, how are things going? As you take a look at the ranked experience in Halo Infinite today, how are things going from your point of view?
I think overall going quite well. Obviously, we have a number of things and feedback that we want to address, but just from like take a step back, how is it performing in the game, in terms of population and things like that, we're pretty pleased with it overall. So right now, we've kind of launched this whole new ranked rotational strategy with Season 4. And so we made a number of big changes we talked about in the blog earlier, but we removed some of the rotational playlists. We've expanded them from 2 weeks to 4 weeks. We added in Ranked Slayer, which was really new and highly requested. And so we've been just very on the pulse, just trying to see what the feedback is online, but also look at the in-game telemetry. And so far, we're really happy with Ranked Slayer and how that's been performing. In terms of population, it's roughly on par with Ranked Doubles, which is the best performing rotational that we really have ever had in Halo Infinite.
For ranked.
Yes. So really strong sign for Ranked Slayer. Ranked Doubles is going to be back next week. And we've actually made a number of changes that I'm curious to get player feedback on. So we're reducing the number of modes. It had things like Oddball and King of the Hill and Elimination. We're reducing it just to be Standard Slayer, and it'll be the same kind of BR Slayer that was in Ranked Doubles prior. The kind of vision there is focus and streamline the kind of mode experience, but offer variety in maps. So you'll have more maps there. We do have some community maps going in, which is really exciting. So yeah, excited for that one to get out and see what the feedback is like, and look at the performance in game, and just continue to make adjustments from there.
Sounds like you lost too many doubles oddball matches, so you pulled it out of the playlist.
And King of the Hill,
yeah.
And
Nice. Yeah, no, I'm kind of bummed. I like oddball, so I'm always kind of bummed when that one like gets rotated out, but I understand it, right? So that's my favorite objective mode to play.
Yeah, and maybe there's a world where those things come back in. I guess again, like we're trying something different. We're gonna look at the feedback and see how it performed and best. I think for us, we wanted to kind of regain focus on the ranked rotationals as more streamlined, more focused on competitive quality and things like that. And Slayer is also just the most popular mode. And so wanted to offer like a streamlined experience that really provided variety in maps, especially now with Forge community maps permeating throughout the game. And so that's the strategy we're taking, and ultimately it's up to the fans and players to let us know if it's the right one.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And you
So now that
mentioned,
go ahead.
I was going to say, you mentioned that we made the swap from 2 weeks to 4 weeks, season 4. What was like the thought process behind that? We had gotten feedback there, right, from players.
Yeah, we got feedback from players that, I think not everyone who plays ranked is like a pro player who's on for 6 hours a day, who goes through their placement matches and ranks all the way up to Onyx really quickly. A lot of our players play on the weekends or, only maybe one weekend out of 2 weeks. They've got jobs and kids and whatever the case might be, school and things. And so we were just getting a lot of feedback around like, hey, by the time I have a chance to play, like it's already gone a few days later. And players didn't really have a chance to kind of like go through their placement matches and actually rank up to where they want to rank up and get kind of their fill. And so we just felt like it wasn't offering based on that like a complete ranked experience. It's like what's kind of the point of ranked if a lot of our players are telling us they don't actually have time to rank up. And so we wanted to, expand that out. I know Halo 5 did 1 month. So we're expanding it out to basically match that with 4 weeks. And so far it seems like it's been performing well, and fans and players have been liking it. But what it also did, it kind of forced us because we only have one ranked rotational in addition to the permanent ranked arena. It kind of forced us to make some hard decisions around, okay, well, what rotationals are there? How many are there? Because, imagine if we still had like 8 ranked rotationals and they're all 4 weeks long. Like, well, now you're only playing doubles like once every 8 or 9 months.
Yeah.
And, that just didn't feel like the right experience. So we focused on what are the most popular and best performing ranked rotationals. And we made the hard decision to remove the rest that were not. So things like ranked FFA, which obviously, that one was a really tough call because we we have a really passionate ranked FFA player that they come to our events and they compete in the FFAs there. So that one was particularly a tough call to make, but we just had to be really strict about the performance of the playlist, and if now they were going to be up for 1 month or sorry 4 weeks instead of 2, we just need to make sure the playlists have enough players and interest to allow for a good matchmaking experience where players are not waiting forever to search and they're getting matches that are hopefully relatively close in skill and relatively close in location and ping and things like that. So it's just the balance of population versus the experience that can be offered. So yeah, we just had to make the hard call to reduce there, but we are excited about Rank Slayer being a totally new thing that we were able to bring in, and so far the results have been really great. Doubles will return starting next week for 4 weeks, and after that we're going to be introducing tactical / SWAT, which we're really pumped about, and snipers will come after that. And so the way we see it is like these are the most popular for a reason, and we want to offer the best kind of experience in there, best maps, a really balanced experience, and just continue to monitor the feedback over the course of this season and see where we take it from there.
Nice. And I do want to pull quote one thing. You just said SWAT, Tactical Slayer, ranked, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, cool.
Very astute listener you are, John.
I found the ranked playlist I'll be in. I like that one. I'm here for that.
Yeah, so we'll get 4 weeks of doubles, and then SWAT will go live.
Just gotta wait one more month and then I can play some ranked. All right. Oh man, someone said nap times is excited. Maybe I won't play ranked.
Yeah, we've actually been talking to Nap Times about like what are good community maps and kind of experience to offer. So yeah, we're pumped about that one.
Oh, nice. I always like when we can get the people that are, very familiar with the playlist, get their input on stuff. It's super helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I used to play a lot of SWAT, but I'm definitely not the expert on all things SWAT these days. So yeah, just working closely with the community. Oh, and quick shout out to Richie Hines on the HCS team. He's going to be leading the charge for us in determining and finding like what are the best community maps to be included. So yeah, make sure you at Richie Hines on Twitter if you have any good suggestions for sniper maps or SWAT maps or doubles maps, whatever it might be. We've already got some stuff lined up, but it's going to be good to just get more of the community content in there. So Richie Hines is your man.
Richie's gonna open up Twitter and wonder why he has 400 notifications.
He's gonna be happy about it. So as long as they have good maps, links, and that's it, he'll be happy.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, for sure. If you're a forger, make sure you include a link to the map, right? So it's easy for us to find. R.I.P. Richie's rate limits.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I did want to talk a little bit about rotationals, just a little bit longer there, Tosh.
Yeah.
You mentioned that some of the ones that weren't super popular are now kind of on the sideline. Is there anything we could do to bring them back?
100%. Yeah, I think, like I mentioned, especially with FFA, we know that regardless of what playlists are offered, there's going to be a passionate base. And like I said, we have the HCS events where people are playing those. So we were thinking, how can we still, for these players that love it, like how can we still satisfy them in some way, but do it in a way that's like going to have a bigger impact, bring more players in, and just make it a kind of better experience overall, even if it's not in kind of like our archetype of a rotational or permanent playlist. And so one of the things that we've been thinking about is this new playlist type that we're internally calling like special events. And it's something we're still fleshing out, so not here to make any kind of promises or anything like that today, but we're thinking about, how does FFA come back in this idea of a special event or even other types of experiences with this notion of special events. So like, is there a way where we could tie like a limited time playlist to a in-person event, right? Like imagine a world where you could play FFA in a playlist in the game and then qualify for a trip to an HCS event because you placed at the top of the leaderboard, or maybe we just like randomly took a few of the players who played the most, right? And we say, hey, now you get to come out. And so we
extra like carrot incentive to go.
That's right.
Play out and try a new ranked experience.
That's right. Okay. And tying it to this like in-person event in this really cool way, hopefully that draws more attention, makes it feel like an actual special event that more players in the game will want to go in and try out and play. And hopefully that will like, hey, I've never played FFA before, but I get to maybe go to an event. That sounds cool. Or, hey, this is a special event. Let me go in and check out what this is all about. And hopefully that draws in more players to, want to play, and maybe they'll stick around and like FFA even more.
Halo 4 Global Championship actually did that.
Yeah.
You could qualify in like top 4 for each week.
Yeah.
Got a paid trip out.
That was a little different than what we're thinking about here.
Okay.
But,
okay.
Yeah, that was awesome. So, but yeah, like stuff like that. I'm sure the players who played in the Halo 4 Global Championship playlists were not all just like the core FFA players who competed at events. I'm sure it drew in, a wider audience. And there are other in-person events that we're thinking about, right? Like 343 Day every year in December. Like, could there be some cool playlist that aligns with that? Where it's a fun experience to play against, us in the studio and maybe get some cool rewards. So like, there are all these like in-person live events, things that are happening, in the real world, so to speak, all the time. And so are there a few different types of playlist ideas that we can come up with to line these things up to have this really cool, unique experience in the game?
And give those not as popular playlists a chance to shine again.
That's right.
Cool.
Yeah, and kind of a new light.
Very cool. I
Yeah.
like that idea.
Yeah.
I do too.
Sure. Thanks.
Also gives people like you were saying, like the ones that aren't necessarily the hardcore, like, hey, I'm not really an FFA player, but this sounds awesome. I might have a chance. Let me jump in and like work at it, right? Because I remember during the global championship days, I remember people just like sweating it out on the playlist. They're like, hey, I started here. I've like climbed this far. I can keep going. So I think it's really good. Also, just like personal encouragement too, right? Like, hey, let's see how far I can get. Let's see how much I can improve.
Yeah, and it makes you feel like you're part of this bigger moment with the rest of the community.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, we're all in here together. This is cool, you know? Yeah, it's just feels special. It's like, oh, there's something cool going on in the game to celebrate this HCS event or 343 day or whatever it might be. So yeah, it's just it's an experience, an idea that we're thinking about, trying to cook up. So no promises or kind of hard commitments at the moment, but it is one of the things that we're working on.
Nice. And then we've got a lot of questions in the chat that I did want to kind of speak to. Most of them are focused around just ranked arena, right? That permanent playlist is always there. It's got the best of the best.
Yep.
I want to ask, how is that playlist doing today? Your point of view. Is there anything you could speak to for the like vision of it moving forward, and like use some of this time coming up here to just dive in on what seems to be the most popular point people are bringing up in chat?
Yeah, ranked arena so far is doing quite well, I'd say. Obviously, we want as many players as possible in there, but when we look at the population statistics, week over week over the last year, it has remained quite steady, which is great. So we feel like it's offering, a good experience. Obviously, there are players on the fringe of the ranks, right? If you're like low bronze or super high onyx, it might be harder to find matches. If you're in, I know we get tweets from players in Australia who have a hard time finding matches and whatnot. So there are still some issues, of course, but we are seeing it kind of retain its player base quite well. And we're also... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Those players are also extremely engaged, if not our most engaged, right?
That's right. Yeah, the ranked players play more. We look at like matches played and minutes played. Yeah, it's a significant chunk greater than all of the other players in the game. So
grinders.
They're ranked grinders. Hey, I'm one of them. So shout out to all the ranked grinders out there. Thank you guys for playing so much. The other thing we look at is just the overall competitive balance. We want the experience in there to be basically respective of what the players expect, right? They're putting their ranks on the line. They're grinding day in, day out. It's a high-skilled playlist. They want to play on maps and modes that are balanced and give metrics to kind of measure how many blowouts there are and one team winning versus another team and all this stuff. And yeah, it is very, very balanced. Like, I think better than what we were seeing in Halo 5. So this actually goes for Ranked Slayer as well. They're both on the same kind of level of overall balance. So competitively speaking, balance-wise, weapons on map, where teams spawn versus one another, ASIMs, symmetricals, all that stuff. Like, the experience in there, from what we can tell in the matchmaking data, is very balanced. So we're really happy about that. And right now our goal is like, okay, we're going to add a bunch of content. Let's make sure we maintain that balance, right? We don't want to disrupt the overall balance of that playlist. So that's kind of where Ranked Arena is at today. In terms of kind of high-level vision, we want this to be like the greatest hits competitively that the game has to offer. So, especially for those that overlap with HCS, it's what are the like most competitive maps and modes, combinations, and most well balanced. But also when you think about HCS, like HCS is a spectator sport. So, we were really excited when we were able to add in like Argyle and Empyrean with 2 snipers, and it was the first 2 sniper maps, and like obviously well balanced, but also super entertaining. So we think about
give
it
me
from
more snipers.
yeah.
Give me more snipers.
So we think about it
How do
from that
we
angle as well.
create a mode where John doesn't get a sniper?
Yeah, what is it? We'll blacklist
We
his
just nerf
account
John.
from picking up snipers. Yeah,
Picks up a sniper, gets banned. I
For
like
the
that.
input, like pick up this weapon.
yeah.
If it's on John.
It turns
Don't
into a plasma pistol or a wet noodle.
Pool noodle.
Yeah.
That would be incredible.
But yeah, for ranked arena, yeah, I know we get a lot of questions around like, hey, I'm an HCS player. Why are there non-HCS maps and modes in here? Or if you're just someone who doesn't care so much about HCS, you're like, we need way more maps and modes. Like, why do we care about what's in HCS? They should just separate the playlists and whatnot. Like, so far, we feel like keeping the peace and keeping it all together has been a successful strategy. In terms of gameplay, there's just so much overlap between what we would actually offer in like a ranked arena playlist and an HCS playlist. Like in terms of gameplay, like it would still be BR starts, no radar, the same modes, almost all the same maps. You wouldn't really configure or change spawns or weapon layouts differently. So at that point, it's like, people would look at these and be like, what's the point of having 2? And especially we're going to split the population. Now it's a worse matchmaking experience for both of these types of players. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to split them and try to maintain these 2 separate things. So the way we think about it is, again, like HCS is like the pinnacle. It needs the most competitive and well-balanced and entertaining kind of things that the game has to offer. And we think there's obviously almost complete overlap with your ranked arena players and what they would want to play. But like there aren't like HCS maps and modes that we think that your ranked arena players wouldn't want to play. So immediately we're going to put all the HCS things in the ranked arena playlist. But then if you're a ranked arena player, you're like, well, I want to play on more maps and modes, right? And if there's a new map that comes in with the season, I don't want to wait for the HCS season to be over or for this to be decided if it's going to be in HCS. Play on this stuff. I just want more content, and I just want to play as soon as it comes out. And so our kind of approach strategy there is, regardless of where kind of HCS is in its season, and if we can add a map to the rotation, just so folks know, like there are a lot of considerations there because there's millions of dollars on the line. Sometimes the season comes out, right before a big tournament, and we can't just like disrupt everything in there. So from a timing perspective, it doesn't always work out. But when there's a new map that comes out, we did this with Solitude, the Plaza remake. It released, it went straight into the ranked playlist, but it didn't go into HCS until after the Arlington event. And so we felt like that was a good kind of execution of, hey, there's a new content. We could have held it until it was official in HCS and then put it in the ranked playlist. But our ranked players are asking for more maps and more content. So we threw it in. And if a map is, let's say, not going to be set for HCS, but we feel like can still offer a good experience for the ranked players, I think we're taking a more proactive approach now and bringing those maps in. So our high level goal of what we're trying to do is like every month for ranked arena, there's either a new map, we're bringing back an old map with reconfigurations, or there's a community map that will go into the playlist. So we started in May with Starboard. Shout out to Pone Jones. The map is awesome, and we know a lot of fans have been really enjoying it so far. June was Solitude, of course, which we saw an uptick in terms of players who jumped in the playlist for that map, so that was really great to see. And then July, we're bringing back Catalyst. Last year, we actually removed it from HCS, and we removed it from the playlist, and players let us know, hey, we wanted it to be in the playlist. So there were some balance things, that we wanted to address, which is why we took it out of HCS and what those competitors were saying. So Catalyst, I can confirm, is coming back in about 2 weeks. It'll be the July map. Multiplayer team has been working closely with Competitive Insights team to, change the weapon layout and change some of the spawns. So it's going to play quite differently than what you remember. Hopefully players feel like it's better than what they remember. And
I already liked it, so
yeah,
improving on that, so that makes me very excited. Yeah,
especially CTF. I like CTF on Catalyst a lot.
So nice.
Yeah, so that'll be exciting. It's actually another 2 sniper map, so that'll be a lot of fun to play on that map. And that'll be the July map. And so now we're looking at, okay, August map, we're lining that up, September, October, and so on. We want there to be every month a map that gets lined up for Ranked Arena. On top of that, we're thinking, hey, for the rotational that's going to be happening, can we also use this map? Like, would this be a good snipers map? Would this be a good doubles map? Would this be a good swap map? So we want to like double purpose the content again, if it's new, if it's old but refreshed, or if it's community content. We want to, if players love it and it makes sense for the experience and the rotational that we're offering, make sure it's being kind of leveraged in there. So there's something again fresh for people to play.
Nice. I really like that, especially Catalyst coming back. You
And
started.
Chat picked up on the dual snipes. They're kind of excited for that.
Yeah, it should be fun. And Sword should be off the map too. I think I just saw High Tech Redneck commenting on that. So yeah.
Shout out to her. She's been around for a while.
A little safer to push around the corners.
A little bit
into those bases.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see how it plays.
I did want to briefly go back to the arena, like what's in HCS, what's in arena.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned like very similar audiences, right? And separating them when it's a very similar experience too is not healthy for the game and or the playlists themselves, and therefore the player experience. We've seen in previous games, Halo games, that separating these does not result in like a win for both communities, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think back to like the old Halo 3 MLG playlist, and look, I used to compete at that time, and I just lived in that playlist, so like nothing made me happier than
you were a 5-star general, 50 in MLG, weren't you?
I appreciate you. Yeah, I actually had one of the highest playlist XPs in that playlist. I had like 12 to 15,000 games. Yeah. I mean, you opened the door for me, so I appreciate it. Anyway, yeah, I played the heck out of that playlist. But sadly, it didn't have a strong population. And if you look at the other ranked playlists that were offered, there's some overlap. Could there have been a world where these things merged, the experience changed a little bit? Potentially, that could have created a better thing. We also saw this with in Halo 5. Halo 5, we had ranked arena, and it was AR starts and Magnum. And then for HCS, we removed the AR starts. We changed a lot of the weapon configurations. And we also did that for the playlist. And then we saw the population sadly decline in the playlist when we did that. So, it's important. The playlist population is important. I know if you're an HCS competitor, you're really focused on, hey, I'm trying to win these tournaments, earn as much money as I can, all the glory and fame that comes with it. But, if you think long term, you have to ensure that there's an in-game population that's grinding and playing alongside there. Like, those are kind of the next generation players, right? If you're a competitor today, you got your start in the ranked playlist. And we need to make sure that that playlist is healthy and it is kind of like funneling the future of HCS there. So, again, if you're a top HCS competitor, you might look at the playlist and say, I wish it had this, and I wish this would change, and I wish that would change. But, we try to strike that balance between keeping as many players engaged in the playlist as we can and ensuring that, those players are there and they're also watching HCS and, for lack of a better term, like paying those bills, right? So keeping that overall ecosystem health is really critical. And I think if we tunnel vision on certain settings and things like that is when we kind of lose sight of the broader kind of vision and goals. And I think we lose potential to have a great in-game experience and also a great HCS experience.
and players just enjoy that variety. And it's not like it's mostly these things that aren't in the HCS rotation. Yeah. It's mostly HCS rotation, but with some variety on the side.
That's right. Yeah, it's like, I think it'll continue to be, and it'll fluctuate a little bit, but it's like 85% of the playlist will be HCS content, 15% roughly will be kind of new stuff on top of that. And the other thing I'll say is, like, I think it can sometimes be a misconception between, I see this a lot on Twitter. It's like the holy war between casual versus competitive, and HCS players don't want anything. They want nothing to change. Like, that's a misconception. Like, your HCS competitors, your pros, like, they want variety. They want new stuff to play on. They understand largely the kind of bigger picture. I think their demands are around the quality of that content and making sure it lives up to, well, again, when they compete on stage, kind of meets that bar. And so I think we can offer both. There's lots of great community content out there. Again, there's older content that we've released that we can refresh. So we can have a playlist that kind of meets that quality bar, that competitive quality bar that all players want. And ultimately, when you talk about fairness and balance, like, this benefits all players. This isn't just like a pro player thing. Like, that's important for everybody.
Yeah, I totally agree. Thanks for diving a little bit further on that.
What's the vibe in the chat? Are we liking this conversation so far? I'm trying to peek over and take a look. What do we think?
The chat is asking if we are taking voice questions. Absolutely not.
Yeah. Voice questions, having someone join us might be a little risky, so we'll stay to the chat. I appreciate the fun aloud fist bump gif. Those are always hilarious if you've seen it.
Oh, that's awesome.
The ultimate reward animation, incredible.
Let's see. There was a question about Solitude. Any changes to it before its introduction into HCS? That's in ranked rotational, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the Plaza remake for anyone who's not aware.
Yep.
It's got the quantum translocator, I believe, right? And
top mid.
It's going to be joining us for it's already in the playlist for ranked.
Yep.
And it'll be in, was it Salt Lake will be the first time for tournament play?
The first event. Yeah. We have like a qualifier this weekend where it'll be used in the rotation. So as of, I think we released the blog yesterday or Wednesday, Solitude is officially in for Slayer, Strongholds, and King of the Hill. So, we're really pumped about that. And we overall have to maintain this like number of map and modes combinations in the playlist, and in HCS rotation. So we are going to be removing Empyrean Slayer, which actually I talked about balance earlier. Statistically speaking, Empyrean Slayer is the worst balanced map and mode combination that we had in the playlist.
From like a blowout perspective? Or
from a one team versus another.
Interesting.
So even though they're symmetrical, I think it's just a testament to like the feedback that we've been getting from players, which is very snowbally. One team gets a weapon and then they roll. So Empyrean Slayer will go, and then Streets, Strongholds, and King of the Hill will go to make room for Plaza/Solitude. Actually, I've been seeing a lot of questions around like, oh, I love Streets. Streets is awesome. Like, I wish we could keep it and whatnot. I think ultimately we shouldn't think about Streets leaving because it's bad. And like, yeah, it was like the least favored when we did the surveys, but we're at a position now, and this is a good thing, where like all of the content is actually really good. Like, the modes are balanced, the maps are balanced, and they're enjoyable for the most part. Like, sure, some people have feedback about Starboard, or there are actually people excited about Streets leaving, but we're going to be now shuffling in and out quality content for quality content. So it's less about now like, hey, this thing is bad, we need to get rid of it, or people hate this thing, we need to get rid of it. It's more so like getting new, fresh stuff in there, and it's just going to have to replace some of the older stuff. So, yeah, I wouldn't think of us removing these things as always necessarily, oh, this is bad, people hated it, so we're removing it. But more so, we just need to make room for newer stuff. So we're going to keep doing this. We're going to have more maps that come later. We're going to remove some stuff. And, things will shuffle around, just like Catalyst. We'll make some tweaks, we'll bring it back. We're gonna keep and doing things like that.
So I saw someone earlier ask for Needler starts, so Empyrean will be coming back with Needler starts, right? Just for that one person that asked.
I'm excited to confirm that no, that won't be happening. I'm excited to confirm that won't be happening.
Yeah, ranked Purple Rain with the
There we
grapples
go.
and everything.
That would be.
Can you imagine?
I did see a question in the chat around, is there going to be ranked leaderboards? There are ranked leaderboards on Waypoint right now. They launched with Season 4, actually right before Season 4. We'll drop a link to them in the chat there. You can go ahead and take a look and see where you stack up. There was also another question from Tools, and he was just curious, like, is there a active list of things that we know players are talking about, have feedback around, right? Like champion rank, rejoin, right after disconnects, things like that. What is on that list of things we know players are asking about, we want to go after, right? And it's just, when can we go after them? Like, obviously we want to do what our players are asking for, and it's just, where can they fit on our list, and what is on that list?
Yeah. So I'll just share also transparently, like, what the process is like. So as of January, there's a new competitive product in terms of development in the studio. And so I'm the product owner. And so I have, we call it like a backlog, where it is all of the things that are in development, we want to be in development. It's just like a list, even like wish lists and ideas. It's just this running list of all the things we want to add, address, fix, etc., etc. And on this backlog, we have a section for all the different pieces of feedback. So it's a prioritized list, but it has things on there like champ rank, ranked rejoin. It has things like PSR penalties. It has things to try to address the direct feedback. But it also has new ideas and features that we think would get players really excited about stuff. So we have this in our backlog, which means, hey, we're aware of the feedback. We're prioritizing it based on how important the players are telling us it is. And now from a process standpoint, we work with the different other teams in the studio, the engineers, the artists, you name it, right?
Services team,
all the different kind of developers in the studio to get this work and take it from our backlog and put it on their active list of things they're working on, every month, right? Every sprint, we call it.
Because they're also supporting every other product owner's wish list too.
That's exactly right. So, we're competitive. Obviously, the studio cares about competitive. We have a great playlist and HCS and whatnot. But we also care about all the social things. We care about Forge. We care about the UX UI. There's so many different things. And so you have to take a step back and look at, okay, from a very macro Halo Infinite, the game standpoint, what are players asking for the most? Right, and we have our user research teams who get that feedback. Community team obviously gets that feedback, and things like, hey, I'm desyncing, right? That's going to fall at the top of the list ahead of things like amp rank or whatever it might be. And sometimes it's different people working on different things.
Different teams.
A lot of times it's not. And so you have a number of resources that can only be assigned to certain things. And up to this point, they've been going after the biggest heavy-hitting pieces of feedback that people have had for the game all up. That includes ranked players, right? Let's just take desync, for example. If we can wave a magic wand and fix desync, that's not just social players who are happy, but it's also ranked, right? So if you think about it from a prioritization standpoint, that's the biggest kind of impact thing that we can go after. Right? You also look at crashes and all these other pieces of feedback that people have been giving us, and we've been focusing on improving and making updates to. So ultimately what you're looking at is just a really big list. And it's all prioritized, and we're just making our way down the list as best as we can. So we for the ranked experience have a number of things on the list, both to address feedback. I think the most urgent piece of feedback we want to address is like, hey, I'm a solo player. Why am I matching against teams of 4?
Mhm.
Like that just feels kind of unfair, and I should at least get more rewards for it, or I should not even match against this at all. So like ranked, and when we think about our backlog and issues, like that's the number one thing that we're working with the services team to try to address. Again, unfortunately, it's not as simple as like flipping a switch and here we go, everything's fixed and ready to go. So there's just lots of other priorities and things that go after, and also ranked is way more sensitive than the other playlists and experiences in the game. Not only from like a balance standpoint, but also matchmaking. Like a good example is when we launched Ranked Slayer and we had the high skill players qualifying at like gold instead of where they belong at like diamond or above. Like these things, ranked is super sensitive.
Yeah,
Like
it matters like so much more.
we have to be super cautious around like this really complex matchmaking system and true skill 2 and all these different things and how they work. And it's like even adding new maps and modes has an impact on how matchmaking works in ranked and how CSR is distributed. So like it's one of those things we have to like measure twice and cut once. We can't just like be kind of willy-nilly for lack of a better term. So it sucks to hear because it means things take longer, but it just requires a greater level of scrutiny and detail. And these players expect the highest quality experience that the game has to offer. Their ranks are on the line. Like that matters to these players, so we want to respect that too. So that was kind of a long-winded answer, but hopefully gave good context for the process and how it all works in the studio. So, yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Tools. And GG's yesterday.
I would be curious. You mentioned a few different things. Like, are there any specific high-level items that are on that backlog that you'd love to just let people know, or on the list of things we'd love to have at some point in time? Whether or not we can get to them, right? No promises, but things that you're aware of and want to go after. You mentioned the 4v, the 4-player like stack teams right now. Rejoin features, champ rank.
Yeah, other things are like, hey, if I'm in a game and my teammate quits out, I shouldn't lose any CSR, right? Like players have given us that feedback. We agree. We need to make sure that it's like you can't game the system.
Yes.
And like just have, oh, my teammate quit, I don't lose any CSR. So like we need to be.
I'd have an obligatory designated quitter if we just blanket let that happen.
Instead of a designated driver, designated quitter for
100% would.
Team of 3 looking for a designated quitter to fill the designated quitter role. I think players have been asking for more control over which servers they play on. Players are also asking for like forfeit. Hey, this game is over. Don't make me suffer for. I think if we have the no quit penalty, that will solve most of that. There's also
that's kind of like what Halo 5 had, right? Where like the first person that quits gets the quit penalty, the CSR hit, and then everyone else can just quit with no penalty, right? Other than the CSR.
We do have some quit protections in Infinite.
Yeah.
If someone quits or crashes early in a ranked match, the rest of their team does get protections.
Yep.
And only gets like a minor amount of loss on their CSR. They still get attributed some of the loss. But I think there are some that we'd like to go after.
Yep. Let's see. I'm literally looking.
He has pulled up the backlog in like our tool, which is Azure DevOps ADO. And he's just scrolling through, looking at some of the cool things that.
Yeah. So like, I'm not gonna go through every single little item, but we get a lot of complaints about, I just play the same map over and over again, or I'm just playing 18 Slayers, and it's like we have this waiting system to try to configure that as best as we can, but we want to see if we can improve that kind of variety. Champ rank is obviously in there. Better rewards is on the list that we want to go after. Letting players control some of the matchmaking priorities, like what they want to configure and how they want to alter their matchmaking experience. Let's see what else is on here. Protection against if someone cheated in your game,
Mm-hmm.
and hey, if there's a cheater in my game, I shouldn't lose CSR and things like that. There's also some feedback we get around like, hey, we won a game. Why does my teammate get +9 and I only got +7? Like, for a lot of players, that doesn't feel like a great experience. They feel like, yeah, win is a win,
Mm-hmm.
So, again, we have this big list, and this is just like matchmaking CSR type stuff. There's also gameplay things, right? Modes, maps. There's different updates that we want to make there, new content that comes in. Hey, there's a new weapon. How does this weapon get integrated? So, there's on the map and off the map type stuff that we have prioritized.
Else you mentioned like cheating, right? You weigh in on anti-cheat conversations, weigh in on networking, desync related conversation, right?
Yep.
So you touch it all as part of the ranked experience because it impacts your ranked experience so much.
That's right.
Yeah. We just went down the list. Hopefully it kind of helps let people know that we are aware of these, like the common points of feedback. We want to go after them. It's all about how we can prioritize it with the right teams, get it into a upcoming release when time permits, right?
Yeah, and I think the next time we start talking more about this publicly, like I would like to have just more meaty information. I know players are tired of waiting a long time, but they're also tired of like, yeah, we're looking into it, and yeah, soon TM, and like, so
yep, the soon TM.
So like I'll just level. Like it sucks for us too that we don't have like a good update to provide, and obviously we want to go after everything that players have complaints about and things like that. But we also have to be disciplined and making sure we're going after the highest impact things and the things that do require the most attention for all the players. So we're on the same page with the fans. Like we want to make this the best experience for them as possible.
Sam, did you have any follow-up questions for Tahir?
I don't, but I did see somebody ask about and I just wanted to like reiterate for I think it sounds like he came in late, but he's asking about adding community favorite maps to ranked and stuff. If you see good maps that you think you would want to see in matchmaking, tweet them to Richie Hines, please. That is apparently the current thing, as he's going to be taking a look at stuff and reviewing what may or may not be able to get added, correct?
Correct. Yeah, Richie's in charge of community maps in ranked. So if you've got a map that you think is great, and he's already got a list compiled. Again, we're building out the kind of monthly roadmap. But yeah, Richie's your guy. I think he's just at Richie Hines on Twitter. Pretty straightforward.
And I'd also give a shout out to our tagging system within the game. If you are a forger yourself, have a map that you want to be considered for anything in matchmaking, you can go and find the 343 kind of recommended tags. And there's like there's a tag for pretty much every type of gameplay experience. You can go ahead and tag that, and it opens it up for us to consider for matchmaking as well. Oh, cool. Nice.
This has been great.
Yeah. Well, I know we're kind of running out of time here, so Tashi, I want to open the floor to any upcoming HCS ranked conversation, or sorry, any promotions, anything you want to shout out as we kind of look towards the future here.
Yeah. So we're right smack dab in the middle of the HCS season, and now we've got events every month from here into the World Championship. So
it's been a busy time.
It has, yeah. So our next event is in Salt Lake City. It's the Global Invitational hosted by Space Station Gaming. So we're really pumped about this. Space Station's based in Salt Lake City, so they've been doing a great job pulling this event together. Love Esports Engine there supporting the event and broadcast as well. So we're really pumped about that one. Tickets are going fast, but they are on sale. So hopefully we'll see you there. And it'll be the first time that you're going to see Solitude, aka Plaza, on the main stage, and Quantum and Threatseeker. If you want to see what Quantum is like in the hands of a pro player, go to Frosty's Twitter. He posted, I think it was
Insane.
a kill tack.
Yes, it was a kill tack.
You need to go see this because
I'll grab the link. I'll grab the link for you guys.
Thank you, Sam. Yeah, it's absurd. So we're really pumped to see that.
It's going to be just a fun event too.
Yeah,
more lighthearted, right?
yeah, it's cool. We're actually just talking about what the media day content will look like, and I won't spoil it, but I think players and fans are gonna have a lot more laughs for this event than typical HCS event. Um, Even though we want people to laugh at every HCS event, that's actually like a really important thing for us. Um, but yeah, Salt Lake City is coming up, and then Fort Worth Major is going to be September 1st to 3rd, and that'll be the final major of the season. It's also the main qualifier for the World Championship, so that's where we'll see dreams made, people going to Worlds for maybe their first time, and we'll see dreams crushed as well as people don't
No.
qualify. So last year's main qualifier was actually insane. So I'm hoping we see more kind of just like crazy matchups and things like that. Tickets are on sale for that one. I think they're on Eventbrite. I'm sorry, I don't have a link, but if you just Google Fort Worth HCS tickets, I think they'll probably come up. And then, or use Bing. and then Halo World Championship coming back to Seattle, October 13th and 15th. That one's gonna be a lot of fun. We're still looking to kind of inject that Halo Fest experience. I almost said Infest earlier. I had to stop.
Infect.
Yeah, infect. We're trying to infect it with lore and campaign and Forge. No, Halo World Championship is meant to be a celebration for all Halo fans, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, the esports tournament, the $1 million prize pool is like the center of it, but really, if you like any part of the Halo universe and gameplay experience, we want you to feel like at home, like there's something there for you. So community stage will be coming back. We actually just had a big meeting earlier today about it. So we're really excited about all the different developer panels that are going to be taking place there and chances that you get to play season 5 scoop and special guests that we'll have there.
Special guests, exciting.
Yeah, so we'll have more to announce. Halo World Championship, Seattle, tickets on sale. VIPs are almost nearly sold out. That one should be, a lot of fun.
Ready for? Very excited.
I can't believe.
I'm excited. I'm not ready, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I can't believe how close it all is.
Yeah, it is coming up real fast. That is exactly 3 months away, actually.
Thanks for the reminder. So much
No
work.
problem.
Only 3 months, you say.
Just gonna go hyperventilate in the corner as we look at the to-do list that keeps growing.
We'll be fine. Honestly, last year, having done it, it's literally the same venue. We have the support from, obviously, community team and all the other teams in the studio. So it's a full force effort. Any folks from 343 will be there, so you can hang out and chat with us. And ultimately, we're all just looking to have a great time and hang out with the community. So last year's event was really special. We're looking to make this year's even better.
Awesome. Well, Tashi, thank you so much for joining us here today, talking
Thanks
about
for having
ranked, little HCS extra we got on the side, which I always appreciate getting those insights. Sam, did you have any closing words as we wrap things up?
No, thank you both for coming on and joining and doing another one of these Spartan Chatters. These are always a ton of fun. So I'm excited to keep them going too.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone in the chat for joining us and
listening. Sorry.
on
Chat is
YouTube.
requesting the obligatory closing pun.
Oh, snap.
Is that a thing?
There's the past couple we've done a closing pun or dad joke.
You have one ready to go? Or?
I was going to ask if you had one. You have a favorite or a go-to.
I do have it. You already know which one I'm thinking of.
Okay, go for it.
Well, let me make sure I say it correctly. I got to line it up in my head because the punchline. Okay, I got it.
We're doing a celeb shot with the pun here.
Okay. Hey, chat. Did you hear about the Italian chef that died? He passed away.
Oh no!
Oh yeah.
That's an all-time great.
When I heard that, I lost it. That is my all-time favorite terrible joke Tuesday.
Was that me telling you that in the studio?
Yeah. With that smirk you have. He passed away.
Oh my god.
I almost feel bad for leaving the chat on a low note. Yeah, get out. Yeah.
You mean that's the high note? What are you talking about? That's such a good one to end
He
on.
peaked right at the end.
Real quick before we sign off, though, I do want to just say thank you for everybody for all the support in ranked and HCS. It's exciting that we have so many players who are still engaged and in there, every day and every week. And we're really excited about all the stuff that we've been cooking up. So this year, really early on, has been focused on weapon balance and balance updates and making sure things are competitively balanced. I think now we're focused on more and more content with the monthly map updates and the new rotationals. I think closer to the end of the year, we're interested in kind of shaking up the meta and changing things a bit more in the ranked experience. So that feels like a fresh, fun, kind of new thing to go after and chase. So we'll have more to share later, but yeah, we're cooking up some good stuff. So just big thanks to everybody for all the feedback and thanks for playing.
Right. Thank you all, and appreciate you tuning in live and on YouTube after the fact.
Yep.
Catch you on the next one.
So if you missed the beginning, we'll be uploading it to Discord in a bit, and then we'll be uploading it to the YouTube podcast channel when it's ready. So thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Peace.